can feel it, can't you? That strange, unnamed thing moving beneath the surface of your ordinary days. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks or dramatic signs. It arrives as a quiet but persistent knowing that the person you were 6 months ago, even 3 months ago, is no longer entirely you. Not in a way you can prove to anyone else. Not in a way that shows up in photographs or conversations with friends who still expect the old version of you to walk through the door, but inside, where your private truth lives, you know something has shifted, and the most disorienting part is that you haven't been able to name it. Until now, you have probably noticed the symptoms first. The exhaustion that sleep cannot fix, not the tiredness of a long day, but a deeper cellular fatigue, as if your body is working a second shift while you dream. The sudden intolerance for environments that never used to bother you. A crowded grocery store now feels like a pressure chamber. A dinner with certain people leaves you drained for 2 days. The news, which you once watched without thinking, now feels like it is actively trying to pull you into a frequency you can no longer stomach. And you have wondered, quietly and perhaps with some shame, whether you are becoming weaker, more sensitive, less capable of handling a world that everyone else seems to navigate just fine. Let me tell you the truth that no one around you has the language to offer. You are not breaking down. You are not losing your edge or becoming fragile. What you are experiencing is the earliest stage of a profound, energetic reorganization. It is the first ripple of something that spiritual traditions have hinted at for millennia, but could never fully describe because they lacked the vocabulary of the quantum field. You are witnessing the beginning of your quantum halo activating, and everything you have been interpreting as a symptom of decline is actually the sound of an old frequency dying so a new one can be born. Think of it this way. For most of your life, your personal energy field has been like a radio receiver tuned to every station at once. You picked up the anxiety of your coworkers, the hidden resentments in your family, the collective fear that runs like an underground river through social media and the evening news. You absorbed it all because your field was porous, unshielded, and set to a frequency that said, "I am available to everyone else's chaos." That was not a moral failing. That was simply the default setting of a world that confuses sensitivity with weakness and boundaries with coldness. But something has begun to move your internal dial. And the static you used to tolerate as normal is now becoming unbearable because your frequency is no longer matching it. You have felt this most clearly in your relationships. Certain people, perhaps people you have known for years, now feel like they are speaking a language you used to understand but have somehow forgotten. Their complaints, their recycled dramas, their urgent need to pull you into problems that never seem to resolve, they land differently now. Where you once felt obligated to listen and fix, you now feel a quiet refusal rising from somewhere deep in your chest. Not anger, not judgment, just a clear and unmistakable no. And because you are a kind person, you have probably felt guilty about this. You have told yourself you are becoming selfish or distant. But the field has a different perspective. The field says you are no longer a match for what does not resonate with your expanding coherence. That is not rejection. That is physics. The exhaustion you cannot explain, the need to be alone more than usual, the strange dreams that feel more real than your waking life, the heat or tingling in your chest when you hear certain truths. These are not signs that you are falling behind. They are the unmistakable markers of a system that is rewiring itself for a higher voltage of consciousness. You are like an old building being prepared for a new kind of current. And the work happening inside you, often while you sleep or stare blankly at a wall, is the most important labor you have ever done. But you have been doing it without a map, without a name for what is happening, and without anyone who could look at you and say, "I see you." You are not crazy. You are not alone. You are activating. So take a breath now. a real one. And let yourself feel the relief of finally having a word for the shift. Your quantum halo is stirring, and what comes next will change everything you thought you knew about protection, power, and what it truly means to become untouchable. To understand what is happening to you, we have to move beyond poetry and metaphor for a moment and look at the actual architecture of your energy field. Because this is not a fantasy. This is not wishful thinking dressed in spiritual language. There is real, measurable science beneath the surface of what I am about to tell you. And that science explains why you have felt so exposed for so long, and why that exposure is now coming to an end. Your heart is not just a pump, it is the most powerful generator of electromagnetic energy in your body. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute and other bioelectromagnetic laboratories have documented that the heart's electrical field is approximately 60 times greater in amplitude than that of your brain, and its magnetic field can be detected several feet outside your physical body. That field does not stay contained within your rib cage. It extends outward, surrounding you in a shape that physics calls a torus, a donut-like, self-replenishing loop of energy that moves from your heart out into the space around you and then loops back in. This is your electromagnetic signature. This is the container of your consciousness and for most of your life. That field has been what scientists call decoherent. Decoherence is a word from quantum physics that simply means your signal has become tangled with the noise of your environment. When you live in a state of chronic stress, fear, or performance, your heart and brain stop sending synchronized signals. The waves they produce become jagged, out of rhythm, and weak. And a weak, incoherent field is a porous field. It is like a fence with missing boards. The anxiety of the people around you, the tension in your home, the collective fear radiating from every screen and every conversation. All of that low-frequency noise finds its way through the gaps and settles into your nervous system. You have been absorbing the world because your field has been too decoherent to repel it. That is not a character flaw, that is physics. But as your quantum halo activates, something remarkable begins to happen. Your heart and brain are slowly being pulled into synchronization. The waves they produce start to move together in a rhythmic, harmonious pattern. This is what researchers call coherence. And a coherent field is fundamentally different from a decoherent one. It is not just stronger, it is organized. It has structure. And a structured field creates something that changes everything about how you move through the world. It creates what wave mechanics calls destructive interference. Do not let the name scare you. Destructive interference is not about destruction in the way you normally think of it. It is the phenomenon that occurs when two waves of the same frequency meet in opposite phases and cancel each other out. Think of noise-canceling headphones. They do not fight the sound of an airplane engine. They produce an identical but inverted wave that meets the incoming noise and simply cancels it. Nothing is destroyed. The noise still exists, but it no longer reaches your ears. This is exactly what happens when your quantum halo locks into a high state of coherence. The low-frequency chaos of the world, the fear, the drama, the collective static, it still exists all around you. But your field no longer provides a matching resonance for it to land on. It cancels the interference before it ever touches your nervous system. You become untouchable. Not because you are armored or cold, but because there is no longer a frequency match inside you for what used to pull you down. I want to tell you a story that will help you feel this truth in your bones. There was once a lighthouse keeper named Elias who lived on a jagged, wind-battered coast. His lighthouse had stood for over a century, and its beam was the brightest for 100 miles. One night, a terrible storm rose from the sea, the kind of storm that old sailors called a sentient thing, as if it had a will of its own. The wind screamed and the waves threw themselves against the cliff with the clear intention to destroy. and the villagers from the valley below climbed the winding path to Elias's door, terrified. They begged him to dim the light. They told him that the beacon was provoking the storm, that its brilliance was drawing the lightning, that if he would only make himself smaller, only allow the light to fade into some unthreatening glow, the storm might pass them by. Elias listened to their fear with deep compassion, and then he told them the truth that they were not ready to hear. He said, "The light does not draw the storm. The light exists because the storm is already there. To dim the beacon would not protect the lighthouse. It would only ensure that every ship in the harbor lost its way home." And then he returned to his post, and he did not fight the wind. He did not rage against the waves. He simply remained the most stable thing in the storm's presence. And the storm, for all its fury, could not touch him. Not because he was stronger, but because he was coherent. His frequency did not waver, and the chaos had no match to attach to. You are Elias, and the people in your life who are uncomfortable with your transformation are those villagers. They are governed by the old world's logic, which says that safety lies in smallness, in blending in lowering your frequency to match the chaos around you. They perceive your growing coherence as a threat because your stability highlights their own internal disorder. They will ask you, sometimes with love and sometimes with manipulation, to dim your light. They will tell you that you have changed, that you are too intense, that you need to be more normal. They do not mean you harm. They simply cannot see from where they stand, but you must see. You must understand that your halo is not an act of aggression. It is not arrogance or spiritual bypass. It is your sovereign frequency performing its natural function, which is to remain untouchable so that you can become a point of stillness in a world that has forgotten what stillness feels like. The shift you are making right now is the move from absorbing to witnessing. Absorption is what you used to do. You walked into a room and immediately felt everyone else's mood. You watched the news and took the fear into your chest. You talked to a friend and left with their exhaustion layered over your own. Witnessing is different. Witnessing means you see the anger, you acknowledge the fear, you recognize the exhaustion, but you do not allow it to colonize your field. You become the sky, and the storm moves through you without ever touching your core. The sky is never damaged by the weather, and you, with your halo activating, are becoming the sky. The lock is moving closer to completion with every breath you take. Stay with me. Section 3 will bring you through the final threshold. The final stage of your quantum halo activation is not about learning anything new. It is about surrendering what you have always been taught about effort, control, and safety. Because here is the paradox that stops most people at the threshold. They believe that becoming untouchable requires them to try harder, to build stronger defenses, to learn the right techniques and recite the right affirmations. But effort is a low-frequency state. Effort is born from the belief that you are not already enough, that you must strain and struggle to reach a version of yourself that does not yet exist. And that straining, that reaching, creates a jagged, incoherent signal. It keeps you exactly where you have always been, running on a treadmill that never arrives. True coherence is not something you build, it is something you release. It is what remains when you stop layering other people's expectations, old wounds, and anxious predictions over the signal that has been broadcasting from your heart since the moment you were born. Your quantum halo does not need to be constructed by your ego. It needs to be revealed by your presence. And revelation is not an act of doing. It is an act of stopping. Stopping the endless internal conversation about whether you are doing it right. Stopping the habit of checking your reflection in other people's reactions. Stopping the desperate need to control outcomes that were never yours to manage in the first place. Consider the addiction to control for a moment. You have been taught your whole life that control is strength, that the person who holds the tightest grip on the details, who plans every hour, who anticipates every possible disaster, is the person who survives. But in the quantum field, control is the weakest position you can occupy. Control is fear in work boots. It is the mind's desperate attempt to impose order on a reality that is infinitely more intelligent than your strategies. When you grip a situation too tightly, you are not protecting yourself. You are suffocating the field's ability to bring you something better than you could have imagined. You are collapsing the superposition of infinite possibilities into the single narrow menu of what your old frequency could conceive. Letting go is not passive. Letting go is not giving up or becoming a doormat for the world. Letting go is a quantum act of supreme courage. It is the willingness to stand in the space of not knowing so that the field can deliver something that exceeds your current imagination. Free fall in the quantum field is not falling. It is flying. It is the state of maximum potential where all outcomes are still available to you, where the universe has room to surprise you. And you have been practicing for this without even realizing it. Every time you chose to stay home instead of forcing yourself to socialize, you were letting go of obligation. Every time you walked away from an argument that used to hook you, you were letting go of the need to be right. Every time you sat in silence instead of reaching for a distraction, you were letting go of the addiction to noise. Those were not acts of weakness. They were the training ground for your halo's final lock. Now you are being asked to take that release to the next level, to let go of the story you have been carrying about who you are and what you deserve. The field does not read your biography. It reads your present frequency. It does not care about your past failures, your old wounds, or the people who told you that you would never amount to anything. Those are old data points that only have power because you keep broadcasting them as your truth. The moment you choose a new state, the moment you decide I am no longer that person, the field responds immediately. Not because you have fixed your past, but because you have stepped into a new probability that makes the old story irrelevant. So here is the final truth you came here to receive. Your quantum halo is not a shield you wear. It is not a force field you project. It is the natural expression of a heart and brain that have stopped fighting reality and started flowing with it. When you stop resisting, the coherence happens by itself. And when the coherence locks in, you become functionally untouchable by anything that vibrates below your new frequency. The drama, the fear, the scarcity, the manipulation. None of it can find a landing place in your field because there is no resonance for it anymore. You are not fighting the world. You are no longer participating in its chaos at a vibrational level. You have arrived at the gateway of a new way of being human. The old world is crumbling because its foundations of fear and separation can no longer hold the frequency you are now carrying. You were never meant to fit into that world. You were meant to outgrow it, and you have. The loneliness, the confusion, the physical symptoms of the shift, they were all part of the rewiring. The halo is active. The lock is complete. You are untouchable not because you are armored, but because you are finally, fully, irrevocably yourself. Go live at this frequency. Watch how the field responds, and know that you are home.